the party had fought off an orcish raid along the road between Westron and Iman. Having come upon what turned out to be at that point, deceased centaur that they were sort of using as a distraction bait kind of thing. Upwards of half a dozen orcs descended upon the party, and you guys managed to fight them off pretty handily, I would say. At the end of the confrontation, you saw a few centaurs just sort of emerge from the woods at the side of the road, and in Elven, one of them did say thank you before they turned around and disappeared back into the surprisingly thick forest around these parts. Really, that's about where we left off. Pretty much right after this whole confrontation. And so, as everything's kind of wound down and you've rejoined the soldiers a little bit farther back, what are you guys doing as you travel along the Silvercut roadway?
Learn Gnomish.
Relaxing and still playing the pan flute.
Okay.
But only if someone teaches me Gnomish. Otherwise it would be quite difficult to learn.
I can teach you Undercommon.
I can un-rhino for a bit and teach Gnomish.
Don't die.
Oh, I've been dying.
Oh, well, don't do that.
Okay. So, anyone who would like to learn some Gnomish, you guys can put that time in for the remainder of the travel day, which would probably be another, let's call it 3 hours.
How long does it take to learn a language?
2,000 hours.
2,000 hours, and I only have 3. Oh. I should probably open Roll20.
That'd be a good thing to do.
I was like, where the crap is my character sheet?
We take
All
a
right.
week off, and this is what happens.
Okay, did you draw on the map again?
No, it's not me.
I don't know. I think it was you.
We really should trace
No,
our path.
it's Taylor.
What? It's
How
not.
can you tell?
It was Taylor. It was
I was-
Taylor's color.
No.
You can choose your color. What are you talking about?
Yeah, my color literally changes every single time.
Well, mine doesn't.
Wait, I'll show you, don't worry.
I know you can change it. I just don't change mine.
Fine.
This is how you derail a D&D session on Roll20.
Oh, jeez.
So, anyway, you guys travel for another 3 hours or so before eventually making camp for the night, and we have company. One moment.
Yeah?
You're getting swatted.
Rip.
My cat is now playing because Sadie's up here with us, and it's snowing like crazy.
So,
Up north?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yep. All right. So, yeah, you travel for another 3 hours or so, make camp for the night, and thing passes pretty peacefully. There are no strange events or anything, and so you all do gain the benefits of a long rest.
Yay.
So, as you wake up the following morning, and sort of prepare to head off on your way, seems like another day. It's like the troops have sort of gotten back into the grind, the kind of routine of just marching cross continent, as you guys are currently in the process of doing. And another long day of walking west continues. About halfway through the day, the group reaches looks to be an intersection of sorts, of kind of two major roadways. And as you approach, Zan, the leader of the group, kind of pauses and looks up at a number of wooden fixtures that can be seen kind of just uphill and off in the distance a little bit. And you hear her mutter something, quickly kind of bowing her head, maybe saying some sort of quick prayer or something to that effect, before continuing on. And as you draw closer to these, whatever they are, you can begin to make out that these structures are in fact a series of gallows that have been constructed along the roadside. And still hanging from a number of them, you can see several bodies, as well as others that have been just impaled on pikes and the like along the roadside, seemingly to leave some sort of message.
Does it say what message, or?
Yes, but not to you.
I mean, just in plain common.
No. But as she notices you kind of looking with bewilderment at this whole thing, Zan takes a moment, kind of remembering, oh yeah, these are Outlanders. They don't know what all this craziness means. She explains that the bodies that you see lining the roadside here are a number of fallen rebels, members of their ranks, that were put here as an example, a message of sorts by the Dressigs and their followers. And as she kind of finishes explaining and looking around, getting a closer look at everything that's kind of remaining here of the Dressig legacy, she turns to a couple of her lieutenants, and you hear her give the order to actually dispatch a few troops to begin taking some of the bodies down, taking all of the bodies down, and organizing a funeral pyre of sorts. One of the other lieutenants goes off and fetches who you recognize, having seen him a few times over the few days, as a cleric. And as the bodies are pulled down and before they're cast onto the funeral pyre, you see him walking around and seemingly giving some sort of last rites to everyone that's fallen here. You can see that every time he sort of kneels by one of the bodies, he produces a small pendant from within his tunic and kind of grasps it before uttering no more than a couple quick sentences and sort of tucking it back. So most of this day is spent essentially cleaning up and removing this last little memory of the Drossig era in these parts. Is there any way that you guys would like to help or investigate or anything to that effect?
Well, yeah, I would like to help, just in any way I can.
Okay.
Am I able to do like quick blessing to each of the bodies?
Yeah, I mean that would be pretty similar to like the last rites kind of thing that the cleric of this group is performing. So I suppose you could work with him.
Alright.
Okay. Anything else from anyone else?
I'd help clear the bodies away.
Bungdo can carry stuff as a rhino, like a lot.
All right.
So he just rhinos out.
Okay. So yeah, Bungdo kind of turns into the cart from Monty Python full of dead people.
Essentially.
All right. And I think the only one I haven't heard from is Toga. Or anything you'd like to do?
I'm not really that good at like lifting stuff that well, so I think I'm just gonna sit up on the. Is it? Or I'll just stay up with the rest of the troops
Okay.
and working on a few ideas in my head.
All right. So yeah, a number of you set off to kind of help in whatever ways you can. Trogdor, you in particular, as you're kind of making the rounds with this other cleric, you learn that his name is Radun, and he is a cleric of Avandra, the Changebringer, who, through the discussions as you kind of go about this whole process, you learn that she, while not a major deity in the same sense as like Bahamut or like Palor or anything like that in this area, she's become more or less the patron deity of this movement that you and your party have helped to kind of bring to fruition in this land. She's sort of been the deity behind which all of the rebel forces had kind of rallied, and to which they had devoted a lot of what they did.
You put the name of that person in the deity in chat?
Yeah, so his name is Ridun, and his deity, Avandra the Changebringer. And as you follow him around, you hear that effectively what he's delivering for last rites is a quick, simple prayer. Over each body, he sort of just kneels and says, Avandra smiles upon you, friend. I pray that we honor your memory and make the most of the glorious new age from which you laid down your life.
Show off.
I mean, you can pray too.
I will say similar words, but in Bahamut's name.
You just copy him.
Yeah, Trogger just like comes around behind every blessing he gives. What he said, but Bahamut. Okay. So yeah, after spending most of the day cleaning up this pretty nasty scene, the bodies are burned, the gallows demolished, the pikes removed, and most of them, well, what can be salvaged, used for fuel for the funeral pyre. And the group makes camp once again, just beyond the Silvercut Crossroads, kind of below a thick black cloud of smoke rising up from the remnants of the funeral pyre you constructed. So,
Who's shuffling papers?
Oh, sorry.
all right. So after another peaceful night, you continue on your way along the Silvercut roadway, passing by a few last bits of mountain before the wide open plains of the western part of the continent sort of roll out before you. And you travel for the better part of a week.
How many hours in Gnomish does that translate to?
Let's see. Let's call it about 6 days. So 48 hours of Gnomish, assuming you have a teacher for that whole
That's
time.
not 6 days.
But you're only doing it while you travel.
Mm.
Would you want to study for more than 8 hours a day?
Sure. I don't know if our teacher would want to, though.
Take exhaustion points.
To learn Gnomish.
Bungdo's not that dedicated.
Nah,
He needs his alone time.
Yeah, same here. I got ideas I'm working on.
I could do 8 hours, and then Taylor could do 8 hours, or sorry, Togar, and then that would be 16 hours a day for you guys, and we would both have our breaks.
I would like a break.
Nope, no break for you. You miss out, you miss out.
But yeah, Dune, what race is he?
He looks to be human.
Okay.
Sort of like kind of darker complexion, like kind of olive skin. Probably in his early 40s.
Alright.
All right. So, as you travel for 6 days, you, again, everything kind of just goes uneventfully, and you, on that 6th day, see drawing closer, just kind of barely visible over the horizon, what looks to be a massive, brawling city coming into view. As you can just barely make out the outline of what must be a metropolis by the standards of everything you've seen around here thus far. You can also see expanding out behind it a seemingly endless sea that just goes on and on and on. Actually, in nearly every direction. There are a few kind of outcropping, a few mountains here and there, but it would seem that this is the far side of the continent. And it would also seem that the party has just about made it into the capital city of Iman. So, as Zan continues to lead the party and the army, in fact, along the road and eventually up to the very gates of Iman, stopping a couple 100 feet short and announcing her name and, well, the deeds that the group has accomplished. There is kind of a notable pause as the guards up at the top of the wall seem to discuss and deliberate amongst themselves. Eventually, the gates do swing open, and the victorious army that served under Zan Taldore returns to Amon. Just, you can see expanding in front of you is, well, on one side, off to your right, there is what looks to be a bustling market district. And you see that anyone who's kind of within visual range of this spectacle that is the arrival of an army in a city just sort of stops, and it seems as though the nearer part of this market district has gone all but silent as you and the massive grouping of troops behind you makes your way all the way in toward the center of the city, where there's another set of walls into which you march with no issue, eventually finding yourselves at a large palace. Standing in front of it, seemingly awaiting your arrival, you see what look to be about half a dozen kind of old, grizzled, perhaps ex-military types. All of them dressed in sort of humble attire, given what you might expect for the kind of gleaming, clean, white appearance of the district of the city that you're standing in. And one of them steps forward, kind of holding up a hand and seemingly waiting to address Zan. And as she kind of draws the troops to a halt, and everyone sort of stands still and silent for just a moment, you just hear this old white-bearded man say, "It is done, then? It is done." At which point, the entire group, massive throng of people that is now occupying this central walled-in area of the city, just lets out this massive cheer that just rings out, echoing off of the walls and making it seem like, even though there are maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people there, it sounds like 20. And as everything sort of winds down, you see that Zan makes her way up the front steps of the palace and begins to discuss with these individuals something, well, seemingly serious, yet happy, yet she seems off-put by something. And it's hard to really say. As the celebration and subsequent discussions are breaking out, what are you guys doing?
A lot.
A lot.
Did
What
we
he said
have,
in Bahamut.
did we have like a goal for coming here, or were we just kind of following the army back?
We should try to find someone who can tell us if they know how we can get back.
Okay.
Yeah, you had been informed that kind of the best and brightest of this land tend to congregate here.
I was planning on going to the temple at some point too.
Bungdo starts roasting a star fruit.
I'll join him.
Okay.
Starfruit for all.
All right. So as the celebration is kind of breaking out in the heart of Amon, and some kind of discussion is being held by the seemingly higher ups of whatever this new hierarchy might be. There is a starfruit party going on among, well, the starfruit adventuring party.
Bungdo is roasting them. I am, I'm attempting to see if I could sell them.
How much
And
star
Bungo
fruit
and
do you
I are
guys
splitting it.
have?
There's cinnamon on them too. I still
Yeah.
have some in the pack.
Um,
In the bottle.
We have 68.
Yeah, so we're literally trying to hawk starfruit.
And how much are you trying to sell your starfruit for?
What's the going rate of just like a snack?
Well, this is starfruit from a completely different land. If we're from the past, this could be like 1,000-year-old starfruit. That's a huge marketing difference.
But I mean, what would like your average just side of the road leg of lamb cost?
The starfruit costs us 3 copper.
Yeah. So, like, a regular piece of fruit would be 3 copper-ish. If you were to kind of up it a little bit, you know,
We're
you could
selling
get
them for a
into...
gold each.
Is that the decision?
I don't want to, but
Well, what's your idea?
I'm trying to figure out what the going price of the stuff is, and then we'll get a price.
I mean, for basically street food, you know, something from like a large snack to a quick, you know, roadside meal kind of thing, you'd probably be in the neighborhood of like 6 to 8 copper.
All right, 1 silver each.
Okay. And who specifically is going to be trying to sell these?
I would say I'm gonna be the one handling, at least trying to handle the money, and Bungdo and I will both be kind of be in the shouters, I guess, or whatever it is. You know.
Okay,
like-
Bungdo, you're on board with this?
Whatever.
I mean, I was just gonna eat the starfruit, but I'll cook. You can have your little business thing. I'll just make you the starfruit.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you most of the money.
All right.
Okay, so anyone who's actually going to be dealing with customers, let yourselves be known.
I am not.
So I have a cantrip that I'm gonna be using on some people to try to help sell this fruit.
Okay.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Do you make this known to us?
Oh no. But I try to like as soon as we get a deal, I like rush out of there.
Okay. So I would say then, Laura, go ahead and make a persuasion check with advantage. And Taylor, go ahead and make a regular persuasion check.
Ooh.
Okay. So, how many are you trying to sell overall? Like, are you trying to liquidate and just double your money, or well, triple your money basically off of the entirety of your starfruit, or do you have a set amount that you're looking to move?
Kind of on demand. We'll take orders and cook it and then give it to them.
Okay. All right. So, Togar, just sort of trying to smooth talk people and get them to buy a tasty treat after many of them were members of your military group that you were with for the last 2 weeks. A number of them are tired and in need of a good snack, and so you kind of use that and leverage that to sell like 5.
I'll pay for it all.
Meaning you're gonna buy it, or
Yeah, I'll buy it for them. Like, they can have it, but I'll pay for it.
God damn it.
okay.
Alright.
Alright, yeah.
And then Lilith, as you kind of make the rounds and use your particular set of skills, you're able to move about a dozen starfruit.
For how much? Wait, am I getting money for this?
A silver
Okay.
each. So
Alright.
5 silvers.
So yeah, and then Lilith, I would like you to go ahead and make, let's call it a stealth check. Okay. So yeah, as you kind of go around selling your starfruit and everything, you do manage to steer clear of those with whom you've already kind of had encounters. You could swear you do hear behind you like one kind of aggravated dude, like, "Hey, you!" But you just keep walking. Okay. Anything else you guys would like to do? Kind of in the current situation.
No.
Meh.
So,
I
you
just-
said we sold 5?
You sold 5, and then
Okay.
Lilith sold about a dozen. Let's just call it 12.
Okay.
How do I erase stuff on this map?
Okay, so you see the little like paintbrush thing in the toolbar on the side?
Yeah.
Okay. In yours, do you have one that says clear drawings?
No.
Okay. Then you probably have to actually not use that menu and just go to like the pointer, the select move thing, and click on whatever you drew, and you should be able to just like hit delete and delete it. That did something.
Oh, maybe this. No, that didn't do anything. I don't know. I'll leave it for you. I trust you. Here you go.
All right. Well, anyway, as the celebration kind of spreads out from this central area of the city, as word kind of makes it all the way around the city over the course of the day. By dusk, the entirety of the city is just one massive party. There are just drinks flowing, all sorts of roadside food vendors, much like, well, yourselves now, set up. You can smell the sweet smells of all sorts of almost like festival food that's been kind of just whipped up in the course of a few hours. And suddenly you guys find yourselves in the middle of a thriving, celebrating, festive metropolis. And, what else would you like to do?
I want to just look around and people watch and look at the architecture and admire it.
Okay.
I'd like to travel to the temple
Okay.
with the tablet.
Alright.
I grab Bungdo and drag him to the nearest Lady Favor's house.
Okay.
Bungdo's face is just beaming.
Okay. So I think we know how Bungdo and Trogdor spend the remainder of their evening.
What?
Or, sorry, Bungdo and Togar. So then, as Trogdor then asks around and gets directions to the temple district here in Amam, he does eventually make his way there, and upon arriving, see that there is a massive temple that has been constructed in the name of the Platinum Dragon. In fact, it looks like it's probably one of the two biggest temples in the city.
You hear a ding in my trousers.
Alrighty then.
I want to go in.
And at this point, it's pretty late in the day, so there really aren't too many people about. There are a few kind of sitting in the kind of stone pews that are arranged kind of in the central area of the open temple chamber on this first floor that you've entered. And beyond that, I mean, you can see kind of sitting around the perimeter, there are maybe a handful of what look to be kind of general clergymen and women. No one of particular status by the looks of things, but would you like to proceed with something?
I'll just find a spot out of the way and just sit there and relax. Wait until the party outside died down.
Okay. Well, the party goes on for quite a while. It's probably close to 2 or 3 in the morning by the time everything dies down outside, or at least mostly dies down. In the meantime, what's everyone else doing? We know Togar and Bungdo. How about the ladies?
Is there like a shady looking alley or something where I can find people gambling with some dice?
Sure. Go ahead and let's see. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Will Lilith allow me to accompany
Oh
her?
yeah, she encourages it.
Aw.
Oh no.
All right.
Do you
um,
tell me what you're looking for? Should I
Yeah.
investigate too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not a question of if; it's more a question of when. But yeah, if Maya would like to make a check, go ahead. Okay. So yeah,
Ooh,
you
I
kind
could
of
send Aletha to scout too. My raven.
okay. Yeah, you could do that.
Should I do another investigate?
Sure.
Oh.
Stupid Raven not knowing how to find illicit gambling operations.
She's probably just disappointed in me. She found some. She doesn't want to tell me.
That must be it. Okay. So yeah, it doesn't take too long. I mean, you kind of just wander through the market district that you passed by on the way in, which you come to find out is called Abdar's Promenade. And yeah, eventually, you kind of find some maybe kind of seedy-looking individuals. A couple of whom you notice kind of just giving both of you kind of the creeper stare. But, steering toward those that you feel at least somewhat safe around. You do eventually find some some gambling action. So obviously Lilith is in this to play. What's Maya doing?
I'm just gonna watch for right now.
Okay.
See what's up.
Sorry, go.
She's just
Uh,
observing.
I take out some knucklebone dice, and I kind of show Maya, don't worry, I got this. And I go over. Is there a group playing, or are there a few different groups?
So as you kind of walk into this back alley, essentially what you were looking for, and you did find, you see probably 3 or 4 smallish groups, probably no more than half a dozen people to each, kind of playing on essentially improvised tabletops, like shipping crates and other sorts of things and stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna look for whoever looks kind of like the stupidest among the groups.
Okay. Go ahead and make an insight check. Okay. All right. So yeah, you walk up and there's this kind of chubby, scrubby bearded dude, bald head. He's just kind of got that slack jawed look to him. But yeah, he seems to be kind of running the action at this particular group.
Okay, so I walk over to him any room for a couple ladies to join in your game?
Okay. As you're probably getting used to at this point, he gives you the total creepy, total undressing with the eyes thing. Kind of raises an eyebrow and looks over at his other goony looking friends. Before just kind of shrugging, kind of gestures you over.
Alright. I'm gonna play a few games fair. And that. Well, I feel maybe I should. I don't know, I'm gonna pull out my dice and show him though, and suggest that we could play with that.
Okay.
Well, I have 2 sets of dice.
Right.
So, well, I'll just tell you, one of them's loaded. So I'm gonna choose the not loaded one first.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and make basically a tools check with your dice set. So that would be for this. I'd say it's not really anything deceptive. So it's pretty much as simple as call it a dex check plus proficiency. Okay, is your save the same as your dex check?
I just checked proficiency for it.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, yeah, you do kind of manage to win. It's probably, kind of a small change game as you're just kind of making your way in, getting to a point where they trust you somewhat. I mean, there's kind of a general air of distrust and sketchiness about this whole thing, but you seem to be getting along all right, and you probably call it 3 copper off that first game.
Ooh, that's so much.
You can buy a piece of fruit.
Alright, I'm gonna, after a while, I hand Maya my loaded dice. She does not know that they're loaded, though. You wanna have some fun? Here, have a go at it.
Okay.
Maya?
Okay. So I guess I roll the dice.
Okay.
I emulate how Lilith played.
Okay. So let's go ahead and call that dex check plus proficiency with advantage.
Okay, I'm gonna roll my dex with advantage and add my proficiency
Yeah,
to
that's
it.
fine.
Okay. And then add 3. So 16.
Okay. And then before I make this roll to determine whether you won or lost, are you wagering a particular amount? Probably set this up in a somewhat legit way.
How about 3 silver?
Sure.
Okay. All right, and you actually end up losing that first game.
Maya. I encourage her to keep playing, though.
Okay. Are we just going at kind of a steady, 3 silver clip, or?
Yeah, we don't need
Okay.
to do every roll just for a while. This is
Yeah,
what we're doing.
that's kind of what I was thinking. So, for the sake of simplicity, Becca, go ahead and just roll a d20 with advantage for me.
Oh, I can't roll my dex check.
You what?
I was gonna roll my dex, not
Oh,
just
I'm just kind of in the group check sense. I'm
yeah.
kind of comparing raw numbers here.
Aw.
Advantage. Advantage.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
there, now it rolled 2 d20s. There, so a 2
Maya,
and a 1.
Oh, that is fantastic.
you have the loaded dice.
Gotta. Should have given me honest dice.
All right, let's see if a 1 comes up on this. All right, so after playing a handful of games, you find out that you're pretty much breaking even at this point.
Well, at least we're not losing. Can I roll a d20?
Yeah. So I'd say you're probably playing about as many games as she is then.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna do a strength. 'Cause I don't know how to do, because my strength is 0. I don't know how to do the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I could look it
Yeah.
up, but don't.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and you're using the legit dice, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, Lilith ends up coming out a little bit ahead, probably making about gold off of a handful of games.
1 gold.
Mhm.
Okay. Maya, you'll practice.
Maya,
Better.
Maya gambles, but she never gambles with dice.
We'll do
Gambles
your
with her.
gambling next time then.
Yeah, Maya gambles with ass kickings, so a little different.
It's not gambling if you know you're gonna win.
I gamble with cards.
Euchre is not gambling.
How do you know? Maybe it is here.
Oh, well, you could gamble literally anything, so I guess that's true.
All right. So, you two gonna keep going or quit while you're ahead?
Yeah, I guess that's enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stop. She stopped.
All right. So net gain, not bad. All right, and yeah. So then, as you kind of leave and um, make your way back, well, toward the uh, rendezvous point that I'm sure you totally set up somewhere.
Yep.
As the night is getting pretty late, and Trogdor is still sitting there in the temple.
I'm
It's
sleeping
like,
if it's too late.
oh, you're just crashing. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna are you gonna sleep at the temple, or are you gonna like regroup with your party?
Sleep at the temple. Curl up next to my dragon.
Okay. And suddenly, all is right in the world. The dragon man curls up next to his dragon steed in the temple of his dragon god.
With dragons.
And okay, you sleep nice and peacefully in the temple of Bahamut. And since Togar and Bungdo are pretty much accounted for at this point, once again we come back to Lilith and Maya. Are you two gonna look for some place to stay?
Did we? We did set up a place to meet. That was kind of dumb.
I just picture it as like the whole group just splits up without saying anything, telling anybody where anyone else was.
Yep.
Yep.
Like a bunch of kids in a mall.
Yep.
Lilith like looks around and is like, usually they just do that. Oh well.
About what time is it?
I mean, are you guys spending your whole night at the House of Lady Favors?
I'd like to visit the market before it gets too late.
Okay.
So not the whole night, just a fair amount of time.
Yeah, and I was never known for being long lasting, so I'll join him at the market.
Dwarves being natural born sprinters and all. um, all right. So yeah, you head down to the market as well. A few of the stores have already closed up, but you are still able to catch most of them should you need anything. What are you looking for?
Let me look at my character sheet real quick.
What kind of a market is this?
This is a huge market district.
Okay, I want to buy a fishing pole. Like, not just my staff with a rope fishing pole, an actual one.
Okay. I would say that's easy enough.
Are there any enchanted ones that I can find?
Go ahead and make an investigation check. Oh,
I should probably do that as Bungdo.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, it's not using that stat, though.
okay.
Yeah. There we go, now I'm Bungdo. But 13.
Okay. So, yeah, looking around, you don't find anything enchanted to speak of as far as fishing poles go, but it's easy enough to find some pretty finely crafted ones if they are a bit less magical than you were looking for.
Alright.
Alright. And
While I'm down there, I would like to just take a look at just slightly magical stuff, like daggers and
okay, fair enough. On Bungdo, I'd say you could probably get that for. And
For
you say
what?
about 1 gold.
Alright.
So when we say slightly magical, what do we mean by that?
I guess like your kind of bargain brand magical item. Like, you know,
Next.
something kind of cheap.
Okay.
Like the seedy guy in the corner with like, hey, you want to buy some knives?
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check for that.
Alright.
Alright. So yeah, I mean, you find pretty much what you described. You know, sketchy dude on the corner, kind of like the long trench coat thing going on. He just like opens it up to like show you this array of like wicked looking knives, but it's kind of got that like flea market trade show kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Like that sketchy dude with the knives at Gibraltar or something.
Yeah. Yes. Are any of them magical?
So are you going to, I guess, how would you like to go about figuring that out?
Can I like do an Arcana check on them?
Sure. Okay. You kind of get this vaguely magical aura from something that's affixed to like the right side of his interior jacket, setup that he's got. But it's hard to tell specifically which knife is enchanted. He points you to this kind of almost reddish tinged one. With kind of like a gleaming silver pommel to it, and a curved blade with like a slight chip out of the sharper end or sharper side of the blade. And he tells you that it does a little bit of extra damage on the way out.
And it's like kind of in the area of where I thought the magical one was?
It's at least on that side.
Okay, well, I'll say, can I hold it?
He kind of looks at you and you see him kind of look over your shoulder, making sure there's like, not somebody about to jump him or whatever. He's clearly been through this kind of sketchy back alley weapon deal before. Kind of nods, pulls it out of his coat and, flips it, hands it to you, with the blade facing him.
Okay. Can I arcana check the blade itself? Like, now that I have it outside of his coat?
Sure. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Alright, how much do you want for it?
You see him kind of, doing the air math thing, drawing out numbers in front of him, and 250 gold.
Done. I'll give him 25 platinum.
Okay. And you are now the proud owner of cool looking dagger. Let me take a quick look at something here. Okay. Yeah. So you now have, I guess, for now we'll just call it Togar's new dagger, or whatever you want to call it in your inventory and stuff. But you haven't had time to really get to know it yet. Anything else you guys would like to do while you're here in the market district? Guess not.
I guess I need to buy like bait and other stuff for the fishing pole.
Yeah, I'd say it's easy enough to, kind of get a deal. We'll include that in your one goal.
All right.
So that's it.
Yes. I'm actually gonna approach Bungdo and say, hey Bungdo, I just bought this new dagger. What do you think of it?
And I guess I take it and Arcana check it too. And I'll just see what it is.
Sure.
And how does it look?
It looks pretty cool. Like I said, it's got kind of this dull reddish tint to it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. A nice like kind of curved blade to it. A little chip missing out of basically the front of the blade. Gleaming silver pommel to it. Let's see.
This is just a fancy looking knife with a chip in it.
Okay. So, Bungdo, you learned stuff about it.
All right. And Taylor just went to grab water, so he'll be back in a second.
Want a screen peek?
Could be. Those D&D hacks.
All right. So with the Arcana, it revealed that it's not very magical, but it is better at cutting vegetables.
Really?
It's the only enchantment it has.
Is it magical?
Mhm.
Sweet. All right. I'm okay with this. I'll put it on my belt and replace one of the kunai.
Okay. All right. So, anything else before bedtime?
Bungdo, was it enchanted? Or not enchanted, cursed?
I wish, but no.
Okay. In that case, then I will attune to it.
Okay. So, yeah, you attune to it, or, well, attempt to attune to it. And as you do so, you don't get that same sensation you have before with attunable items.
So you can't attune to it then.
Seem not.
Okay. Well, then I'll just go to bed.
Okay.
Okay.
Where's bed?
I will attempt to find everyone else.
Cool.
Right. Going with Bungdo.
Okay. So that being the case, I mean, do you guys want to meet back up as a group minus Trogdor at this point?
Sure.
Okay. All right. And presumably look for some place to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are plenty of places about town. You all happen across a seems to be a pretty well-liked establishment, as you've heard it mentioned around town a few times, known as the Laughing Lamia. And yeah, you walk in, and there's kind of the last lingering bit of the party crowd. A few people kind of just passed out face first on their tables, and a couple more sort of staggering toward the door, and probably on their second or third attempts at this point. But you are able to get rooms. And are you guys doing the roommate thing, or is everybody getting their own?
I'll bunk with someone.
I offered to have her bunk with me.
Ooh,
Okay.
I accept.
I'll bunk with Bungdo.
Yeah.
Mungo.
I'll just go sleep on the chair or something.
Okay. All right. Cool. So you guys all find your various places to sleep for the evening, and wake up nice and refreshed. And so, what is the plan with your first full day here in Imam?
Want to find someone who might know how to get us back.
Sorry, Eric, what are we doing now? Just we're a new day?
Yeah. So Maya wants to find somebody who can get you back to your home world, home continent, home whatever.
Yeah.
I would like to go and see if I can find, like, I guess it's like the engineering side of town.
Okay. So specifically, because I do have kind of an idea where this is going. Are you looking more for like kind of the production type area, or more theoretical? Yeah. Basically, you're looking for the engineers or are you looking for the place where all the engineers' ideas come into fruition?
Yes. Yep, that one.
Yes.
The,
Yes to the...
where all the ideas come to fruition.
Okay. So asking around, you are eventually directed to a place known as Anvil Gate. And basically what you find when you get there is this massive foundry that is kind of encircled by a number of different blacksmiths and tinkerers and all sorts of other shops that deal with various aspects of fashioning metal. So, as you've kind of found the hub of all things metallurgical in Iman, what specifically are you looking for?
Some inventive stuff. So, like, I'm trying to think. Like, someplace where I could show the gun and be recognized as something marvelous.
Okay. So, I mean, there are a number of essentially like privately owned shops all around this foundry. Lots of armorers and weaponsmiths and kind of tinkerers of other sorts. What do you think would be the best play? Because ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
I'll go to the tinkerers.
Okay. And so you walk in and you see a number of kind of interesting like clockwork gadgets and things kind of all about. Most of them are like children's toys and things of that sort. But you do see kind of behind the counter up on a few shelves back there. There are what look to be essentially like semi-automatic crossbows and things of that sort. It's kind of a hodgepodge of anything you could conceive of that could be mechanically executed with the technology of the time. There's probably an example of that in the shops. Kind of just generally disheveled and messy, and you can see back behind the counter there is looks to be an aging, but not necessarily elderly, elven male. Kind of grayish flowing hair tied back, and a large pair of goggles sort of strapped to his face as he's fidgeting with something under kind of a magnifying lens. He doesn't seem to pay you any mind as you walk in.
I'll just kind of start looking around for a minute, and if he doesn't say anything, then I'll kind of look over and say, "Hey."
Okay. So yeah, as you're looking around, you see that a few of the things on the shelves are kind of still moving. Maybe someone's been playing around with them or whatever. And just as you're about to kind of reach out to this person behind the counter, essentially a clock that's sitting on the shelf opens up, and much like a cuckoo clock in our world, you see a dragon come out of the center of this clock with what looks to be 7 small yellow things kind of revolving around it. And it opens its mouth, and there's just like this little gust of wind before it closes and then retracts back into the clock. And at that point, the Tinkerer kind of looks up and sees you, and you can kind of see his eyes through the goggles, kind of squinted, and barely able to be made out. But he does kind of squint and see you and says, "Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, you have quite a good collection of weapons here. Do you have anything a little more advanced?
Have you seen my crossbows?" He kind of
Yeah.
gestures up toward the things on the shelves.
How about anything using any powders?
I'm not sure where this is going.
Well, what if I told you there was a way to use a certain powder to fire little balls and very, very high speeds?
Well, that would have to be preposterously fast to be a weapon, if that's what you're implying.
Well, it is fairly, similar to a crossbow, but instead of firing an arrow, it doesn't fire very big, but it hurts.
It's certainly an interesting idea. I don't know that would ever.
Well, I will exchange this information if you could help me, kind of learn a little bit more about what you do and how you come up with all of this.
And you think this could be a weapon?
What I have, I've seen it. It is definitely a weapon.
Well, it's certainly intriguing. I've never heard anything quite like this before, so I suppose I could entertain your strange ramblings.
Okay. And as an aside, Eric, if you remember back when I initially did the drawings, I did them all what I gave to the other the guys in Strassa, everything but the firing mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do the same thing here. Show him everything
Okay.
but the firing mechanism. So.
Okay.
And in my initial drawings, it didn't even exist.
All right. And so you're just gonna show him that, and I guess the question is, are you attempting to convince him that that's all there is, or is it kind of an out in the open, well, this isn't quite everything. When you finish the bargain, I'll show you the rest kind of thing?
I'm just gonna attempt to kind of breeze over it, just like what I did in Strassa.
Okay. Fair enough. So, yeah, you pull out your schematics and begin to go over the details, and he kind of smiles and nods through a lot of it, like, clearly trying to kind of conceptualize it. It seems not entirely sold on the idea, but certainly at least interested in trying to implement it. He doesn't make any comment about, how does it fire or anything like that. And yeah, so as you finish that up, and he's kind of taking some notes and everything, he then sort of turns to you and says, "Well, then, what can I teach you?"
Well, I want to learn how you do what you do.
All right, and the conversation, for the sake of simplicity, just kind of goes on, and he gets into some more nitty-gritty mechanical details, the kind of stuff that he works on, and with your kind of background in metalworking and the like, I would say that it's reasonably easy for you to comprehend. I'd still like you to make an intelligence check for kind of a retention and understanding kind of thing. All right. So yeah, I mean, you don't feel like you could go out and make something as intricate as, say, that clock back there on the shelf, but you've got a good idea of what he does and how he does it.
Okay, cool.
More kind of a theoretical understanding than, just being able to go out there and build any crazy clockwork contraption that you want, but...
Yeah, I'm just trying to get ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I guess I will head to, where we were meeting back at the inn.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would think so.
Alright, I'll head back to the inn then.
Okay. And what's everybody else doing today?
I'm gonna try and find a library, I guess, to ask if they know any people that we might be able to ask about. No dimension traveling, plane travel.
Okay.
Are there any restrictions on fishing in the harbor?
Not that you see. You don't see any signs or anything of that sort.
Bundo's gonna go fishing,
Okay.
and he takes some starfruit before he goes.
Of course. All right. So Bungdo goes fishing. Go ahead and see, is this really applicable for any skills, I wonder? I guess let's call that a survival check. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you're able to haul in a few fish over the course of your time kind of fishing in the shallow, kind of salty ocean water. I'd say you probably catch like 4 fish over a few hours, which is really not bad. Not bad at all.
How big are they?
Probably no more than like probably in the 10 to 14 inch range. So in terms of weight, I mean, I guess we'd call that, maybe you catch like, call it 10 pounds of fish once you account for all the stuff you can't really do much with.
All right.
Okay. And then Maya is investigating interplanar travel.
I'm gonna go with Maya.
Okay.
Waiting in the
So-
temp. Oh, no, I go ahead.
Okay. Cool. So, as you kind of ask around town, looking for perhaps some places where you might be able to gather the info, over and over again, you're kind of referred to what's kind of known as the academic district of the city, formerly known as the Erudite Quarter. As you kind of enter that district of the city, you can just see like a number of various university-like buildings making up almost the entirety of the area, from libraries to schools of the arts to like more hard science kind of stuff. And standing up near the center of the district is a particularly large complex of buildings that, through your inquiries over the course of the day, you've come to realize is probably the Alabaster Lyceum, which is a essentially school of mages.
I guess, yeah, I'll walk in.
Okay. All right. So kind of strolling about, you see a number of individuals, various types of pretty fancy-looking robes. There is a single, looks to be half-elven male, kind of seated at a kind of round desk in the entry chamber. And he just sort of looks at the two of you as you walk in with kind of a raised eyebrow, like, you're new.
I'll walk up to him and be like, is there anyone we could talk to about interplanar travel?
When you say talk to, what do you mean exactly?
Discuss possibilities and how to?
Well, it would be a bit of a challenge to set up any real educational courses. I mean, we would of course have to charge you tuition for that. But come to think of it, I think this may interest one of our resident mages, and well, he may be willing to give you a few minutes of time. And you see him kind of reach over and tear off like a piece of parchment and kind of scribble something down, and as you've seen a number of times before, disappears. And he just sort of like taps his finger on the desk as he's clearly waiting for a response, sitting there, kind of just staring off into the distance. And after a minute or so, another piece of parchment actually just appears squarely in front of him on the desk, almost right where he left, or where he disappeared the other one from, I should say. Kind of picks it up and holds it out, reads it, and he says, well, I think you may be in luck. It would seem that he might have a bit of availability later today, toward the end of classes here at the Lyceum. Come back sometime around dusk. He should be free. If someone else is working the desk point, feel free to simply let them know that you're here to see Belveril. And I can put that in chat. Um, and as I think this is a particular area of interest for him, well, let's just say I think this will be a good fit. So if there's anything else I can help you with, please let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Do you know which library we could use to look up information on Behold?
I mean, we have a single large library here on premises that you may be able to find some information within. Perhaps that would be something to discuss with Belvero as well, as typically we don't allow outsiders too much access to such things.
Okay, thank you.
Did we see a beholder?
They did, you didn't.
Okay.
This is before Lilith's time. Okay.
I still haven't had time to do research on it.
So much stuff to research.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So, anything else you're doing kind of throughout the remainder of the day before you meet up with Belvero?
I'll get Lilith and ask if she has anything new.
No. You tell me about your beholder.
Well, it was an undead beholder. Some guy kind of summoned it, for his evil word, and yeah, kept it in the basement. I can't remember the names of anything.
Did you kill it?
Oh yeah, it's dead.
Oh, cool.
Along with the guy who summoned it. Yeah, he became a starts with a B.
Bodak?
Bodak.
I don't
And
know this.
can you send her a picture?
Probably.
And yeah, we killed him too.
You guys kill a lot of things.
Well, we keep coming along cultists.
It's true.
I feel like that's not normal. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, good on you for killing all those things.
I mean, yeah, it's come across evil things. It's what you have to do.
You want to go gamble?
Sure.
Yeah, show me your card game.
Should go to a shop and buy some cards. I wasn't planning on gambling, so I didn't pack them.
That looks pleasant. How many toes does it have? It looked like it had a lot of toes.
So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go to a card shop.
Okay. And buy some cards?
Yes.
Okay.
We go to Gamer's Gauntlet. Ow.
Okay.
I buy Maya some dice. Maya, what's your favorite color?
Yellow.
I buy Maya some yellow dice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now learn how to use those.
You'll have to teach me.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, you head in there and get your stuff. And things are taking forever to load. There we go. Okay. So, you are able to get a decent set of playing cards for 5 silver, if you so choose.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I buy some.
Okay.
What color are they?
What color do you want them to be? It's a card shop. They have lots of cards.
They'll be purple.
There you go.
Okay. Are we both buying cards, or?
Yeah. We're gonna play Egyptian Rat Screw like double though, because we're gonna have 2 decks of cards.
So I'll have yellow cards.
You're so yellow.
Yep.
How about gold?
Sure.
Okay, that was easy.
Okay. We are off to go find a place to gamble.
Okay. So yeah, it's easy enough at this point, having kind of found your way around the, well, at least the way to such activities already. So you just kind of head back over and find a couple familiar looking faces. And, yeah. So you would like to play some card games this time?
Yes.
I let
Okay.
Maya take the lead. I don't know play
Okay.
card games.
Are they currently playing any card games?
There does seem to be some essentially variation of poker going on at in one group.
Okay. I will join that.
Okay. For this, I would say go ahead and I guess let's call this. Is it intelligence? I don't think it would be intelligence.
Is she
What would you
counting
roll to play
cards?
poker?
Sleight of
Sleight
hand.
hand?
Are
Maybe
you being sketchy?
maybe Constitution, so you can keep your face straight.
Hmm.
Ooh,
I'm
you know
being
what?
sketchy.
That's not a bad idea. Not Constitution though. I would say for
Insight?
this,
If you're playing poker?
yeah, that's probably fair.
Let's do
I'm good with
insight.
that.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, oops, I accidentally rolled advantage.
It's okay. They take the first one anyway.
Maya's poker face on point.
I know how to play cards much better than I know how to play dice.
Okay. So yeah, spending, call it a few hands, you're able to pull in probably about another, call it 2 gold, Maya. And at this point, Lilith kind of just manages to break even as she's learning the ropes. And we have a concerned beast in the room, so I think we might need to take a quick break.
Take the concerned beast out of the room.
Yeah.
Is there a dog playing poker with us?
Just lying loyally by his owner's side, quite
Aw.
concerned that he's losing money to me.
Okay, I'll be right back.
See, the die rolls know what's up.
What? For what?
They know that I can't play dice, but I can play dice.
Oh.
I am bad at the thing that tells me how good I am at things.